The wind was sharp, full of dust and heat. Earth had not seen peace in years, but no one expected the war to begin like this. It was early morning. Birds were quiet. The skies were gray, but not from clouds. Smoke, fires. Something had fallen. From above, John Keller, a young mechanic in New Nevada Zone 6, was fixing a water pipe near the edge of the ruins. He had a simple life, quiet, no big dreams. Just him and his tools. That morning he heard a sound, not like a machine, not like a bird. It was a scream, high-pitched, not human. He dropped his tools and looked toward the valley. Smoke rose there. Something had crashed. He grabbed his scanner from his belt. Nothing on radar. No drones, no ships, nothing. Strange. John moved closer, hiding behind an old concrete wall, overgrown with weeds. Then he saw it. A figure. Someone or something was crawling out of the mud at the crash site. Thin arms, long legs. Skin-like. Faint silver, covered in brown dirt. Hair like glowing threads. An alien girl. She looked hurt, confused. Her eyes large and bright met John's for a second. She flinched. Her voice was strange but clear. "Spray me down, human." John stood frozen. What was she talking about? She pointed at the hose on his tool belt. "Spray, now." Still unsure, John obeyed. He slowly walked forward, aimed the hose, and sprayed her. Steam hissed as the mud melted off her skin. Underneath the grime, her skin shimmered like polished glass. Her body carried signs of armor, scorch marks, strange symbols. She stood tall now. Weak but proud. "I'm not your enemy," she said, "but others are coming. And they won't ask first." John blinked. "Who are you?" "No time," she said. "Call your leaders. Or don't. But this place, your Earth, it's part of something bigger now." That's when the sky roared again. 3 loud cracks split the silence. Flashes of light. Not lightning, not thunder. Something above them tore open. Like a door in the sky had been unlocked. From it, dark shapes began to fall, smooth, round, fast. Drones? Bombs? No drop pods. "They followed me," the girl whispered. "You need to run." John grabbed her arm. "I don't even know your name." "You don't need it yet." She turned to face the falling pods. Her hand reached into a small device on her belt. A shield of blue light wrapped around her body. One of the pods hit the ground with a crash. Dirt flew everywhere. A metal shape unfolded from it like a spider, but twice the size of a man. It clicked and scanned. Red light blinked. It saw them. John pulled his cutter. Pointless against that machine. But he stood his ground. The alien girl stepped forward. "Stay behind me." Then she moved fast, smooth, not human. She leapt, spun, and struck. A light blade flashed in her hand. She sliced through the machine's leg. Sparks flew. John couldn't believe his eyes. This girl, she was a soldier. The second pod hit. Then the third. The ground shook. She turned to John. "More will come." "Many more?" John asked. "Why are they after you?" She looked away for a moment. "Because I stole something from them. Something they can't afford to lose." "What is it?" "Hope," she said. The sky kept breaking. More pods came. John knew his quiet life was over. Earth was no longer alone, and this war, this unexpected war, was just beginning. John had never seen anything like her. Not on Earth, not in books, not even in war footage. She moved like a shadow, her glowing blade cutting through the spider machine like paper. But now 3 more had landed and her shield flickered. Weak, failing. "Get back," she yelled. John ducked behind a broken vehicle as the machines fired. Bright blue shots hit metal and stone, blasting holes through walls. One passed just over John's head, burning the edge of his jacket. The girl rolled, spun, and stabbed. One machine fell. But two more circled her. John saw her stumble, her leg bleeding, purple blood, thick and dark. She was fast, strong, but not unbreakable. He grabbed a tool from his belt, an arc cutter. Weak against armor, but maybe ... He ran toward the nearest spider. It raised its legs to strike the girl. John dove forward and slammed the cutter into the bia. Joint. Sparks flew. The leg jerked and the machine twisted off balance. That was all she needed. She jumped, drove her blade into its core, and it went still. Now one left. It hissed. It didn't attack. It scanned. Then it sent a signal sharp, loud, high-pitched. What did it do? John asked. Called for more, she said. Panting. The machine turned and ran fast, then leapt into the trees, vanishing into the shadows. John helped the girl sit. You're hurt. I'll heal. You didn't answer me before. John said, Who are you? She looked at him, tired but calm. My name is Kale. Why are they after you? Kale pulled out a small metal cube from her belt. It glowed faintly, pulsing. It holds ... memories, secrets, their plans. What kind of plans? They want your planet. But not for your people, for your resources, your orbit, your silence. Silence? Your Earth is quiet, she explained. No deep space signals, no weapons of real scale. They thought you wouldn't fight back. I proved them wrong. I stole this. I escaped. They followed. John stared at the cube, so small, so dangerous. Kale continued, They don't just invade. They erase. No witnesses, no ruins. Like your world never existed. He felt a cold knot in his chest. How long until more come? They're already here, she said. Scouts first, then swarms. John stood, looked at the broken machines around them. We need to warn people. They won't believe. You, Kale said. Not at first, but you have a choice now. What choice? Help me get this to your command center, or run. He looked at her, wounded, strange, but brave. And then he looked at the sky. More streaks were falling in. The distance. Quiet flashes, not ships. Not comets. More pods. I'm in, he said, but we'll need a plan. They reached John's outpost by night. It was a small base, half hidden in desert rock, built by civilians for water processing. But there was a radio, and a small drone that could carry messages. John locked the gate behind them. Kale leaned against a wall, holding her side. Her armor shimmered weakly. He found her a med kit, but most tools were made for humans. She winced at the sting of the foam. Outside, the wind picked up. Distant engines could be heard low, steady. A patrol? John turned on the radio. Static. Then a voice. Zone 5 to all stations. Unknown aircraft spotted. No response. Approach with caution. Kale grabbed the mic. Zone 6 do not approach. Hostiles confirmed. Prepare for full assault. This is not a drill. There was silence. Then, who is this? John took the mic. This is Technician John Keller. She's telling the truth. We've been attacked. More silence. Then, message. Received. Stay put. Reinforcements en route. Kale didn't relax. They won't be enough, she said. You don't know that, John said. I do. I've seen them wipe out cities bigger than yours in less than an hour. John looked down, then at her. But you're here now. She looked surprised. You trust me? I saw you fight. I saw you bleed. That's enough for me. For the first time, Kale smiled. Just a little. Then the drone sensor beeped out movement. Nearby. Not friendly. John ran to the camera. One of the spider machines was outside. Watching. Waiting. Not attacking. Just watching. Kale stood. They're studying. U.S. now. Learning. What happens next? he asked. Cale's eyes darkened. They send the hunters. The wind howled outside the outpost. Sand scratched the walls like claws. John watched the camera feed. The spider machine was still there, not moving, not attacking. Just standing, watching. It's been 30 minutes, he said. What's it waiting for? Cale stood beside him, her wound covered with makeshift bandages. It's marking the area. Hunters don't move in blind. They study first. Track heat, sound, energy, scent. Scent? John raised an eyebrow. They're alive, partly, Cale said. Not machines, not animals. Something between. They remember faces, voices, blood. John's stomach turned. And how do we fight something like that? Cale looked at him. You don't. You run, hide, delay. Until we reach your people with this. She held up the metal cube. It pulsed faintly, still alive, still dangerous. If they take this back, they'll erase your world before you even know why. John stared at the cube. So small, yet everything seemed to depend on it. The outpost lights flickered. Then the power died. Darkness. Silence. Then a low growl. Of something breathing. Not outside. Inside. Cale pulled her blade. They're here. John grabbed his tool cutter. But the cameras, they can block your systems when they get close, Cale said. It's part of the hunt. A soft click-click echoed down the hallway. John's blood turned cold. He whispered, "How many?" Cale didn't answer. She moved into the hallway like a ghost, her blade humming with low energy. John followed, staying low, heart pounding. They passed the storage room. Empty. The med bay. Dark. Then dash movement. Something dropped from the ceiling, fast. A blur of black limbs and sharp eyes. John swung his cutter out of fear. It passed through the air. Too slow. Cale leapt forward and slashed. The thing screeched, a high, horrible noise, and jumped back into the shadows. But not before Cale's blade had cut through part of its shoulder. Dark green fluid splattered the wall. John blinked. That was one of them? Cale nodded. A scout. The real ones come after it finds us. Then we need to move. Now. They rushed to the vehicle bay. One old desert runner remained, a small, fast rover built for sand and heat. John jumped into the driver's seat and started it. The engine coughed. Then roared to life. Cale climbed in beside him, blade still in hand. Where are we going? She asked. There's a military relay station 20 miles north. It has a long-range uplink. If anyone's still listening, we can call the command net. Then go, she said. John hit the pedal. The rover shot forward into the night, tires kicking sand behind them. But they weren't alone. In the side mirror, Cale spotted movement, fast, four-legged shapes running low to the ground. They're chasing, she said calmly. John pushed. Harder. Can this thing outrun them? Cale checked her device. Not forever. A screech pierced the air. One of the hunters jumped onto the roof of the rover. The metal groaned. Its claws dug in. John swerved. The rover shook. Cale unstrapped herself and climbed halfway out the side. Keep steady, she said. Easy for you to say. Cale reached up and stabbed through the roof. The creature shrieked. Green fluid sprayed down. The rover jerked again. John lost control for a second, then slammed the brakes. The hunter flew forward, landed hard, rolled, and vanished into the tint of the dust. Cale slid back into her seat, breathing hard. That was only one, she said. More are coming. Sure enough, 3 more shapes were now visible behind them, dark, fast, silent, and the headlights. Relay station. John shouted. The building was small but fortified. 2 turrets sat on its roof. A radio dish spun slowly, searching for signals. He blasted the horn as they neared. The gate opened. Soldiers waved them in. John didn't slow down until they were inside the wall. The gate shut behind them. Turrets powered up. The hunters stopped outside the fence, pacing, watching, waiting. One of the soldiers pointed. "What the hell are those?" Cale stepped forward. "The beginning." The commander arrived, a tall, older woman with a cybernetic eye. "You're the one who called in," she said to John. Double quotes, "Yes, ma'am." Cale handed her the cube. "This contains their plans, their weakness, but they'll do anything to get it back." The commander studied Cale. "You're not from Earth." "No, but I want to protect it, because if they win here, they won't stop." Outside, the hunters began to howl. The commander looked up at the night sky, then at the pulsing cube. "Then we hold the line." Asterisk, the night was still too still. John stood on the roof of the relay station, gripping a borrowed rifle. The desert wind touched his face, but it wasn't cool. It was tense, heavy, the kind of silence that comes before a storm. Cale was beside him, crouched low, scanning the horizon. "They're waiting," she said. "For what?" John asked. "For fear," she replied. "Hunters don't rush. They corner. They test the walls. Then they break the mind before breaking the body." John looked through the scope. Dozens of shadows moved beyond the lights. Fast shapes, long limbs, silent steps. The commander joined them. Power grid stable. Turrets loaded. "If they charge, we'll hold them off." Cale shook her head. "They won't charge. They'll disable first. Blind your cameras. Cut your power. Jam your weapons. All at once." The commander narrowed her eyes. "Then we'll need backup plans." John stepped forward. "Let me help with the generator systems. I can wire manual overrides in case they try to short it." The commander nodded. "Do it." He rushed downstairs. Cale stayed behind, eyes fixed on the dark shapes outside. Inside the command room, the cube sat on a platform connected to Earth's uplink system. It blinked, slowly uploading data into secured networks. A young soldier stared at it. "It looks alive." Cale entered the room. "It is. It's not just storage. It thinks. It watches. Is it safe?" Cale looked out the window. "No, but it's safer with us than with them." Then the lights flickered. The station shook. "EMP blast," someone shouted. "Backup power now." John jumped from the basement stairs. "I got it." He slammed his hand on the manual switch. The backup core roared to life. Lights came back. Cameras buzzed, but outside chaos had begun. The turrets were spinning. Too fast. "Jammed," cried the tech officer. "They're blind." Cale drew her blade. "They're coming now." A shriek tore the sky. From all sides, the hunters ran fast, low, deadly. They climbed the fence, slipped through gaps, dashed over rooftops. One slammed into the front gate. Metal bent. Another crawled up the tower wall. Gunfire broke out. The commander yelled, "Hold the perimeter." John grabbed his second weapon and ran to the main door. A soldier screamed as a hunter burst through a vent. Cale jumped in and struck, blade flashing. Blood splattered the walls. John helped drag the wounded man to safety. They're inside. Cale's blade whirled. 2 more hunters fell, but there were too many. "Fall back to the uplink room." The commander ordered. Everyone ran. The cube was still uploading. 73%. One hunter slammed into the door as they locked it. Metal dented. It shrieked and scratched. "We're trapped," John said. Cale placed the cube into a secure case. "You have to finish the upload." "I can't without power." "Then we hold until it does." Boom! The door burst open. 2 hunters charged in. Cale fought the first, dancing through its strikes. John aimed and fired again. And again until the second one dropped. Cale finished hers and turned to John. "You're getting better." He was breathing hard, not fast enough. Suddenly, a voice came through the radio. "Command net online. Signal received. Alliance forces notified." Everyone paused. The cube blinked green. "Upload complete." Cale smiled just barely. They know now. But the moment didn't last. The wall exploded. 3 larger hunters stormed in twice the size. Armored, faster. One grabbed a soldier and threw him like a rag. The commander opened fire but was thrown aside. John dove, trying to grab the cube. One of the creatures knocked him back. Cale stood between them. Her blade was cracked. Her shield gone. She looked at John. "Get it out." "What?" "Take the cube. Get out through the roof vent." "I'll hold them. You'll die." "If they get this back, Earth dies." John hesitated. Then nodded. He grabbed the cube, climbed the emergency ladder, and kicked open the roof hatch. Cale turned to the beasts and raised her blade. "For your crimes," she whispered, "this world fights back." John reached the roof. The rover was still outside the wall. Behind him, sounds of battle, roars, screams, silence. He slid down the wall, jumped into the vehicle, and sped off into the desert. The cube pulsed in his hands. The last signal it sent echoed into space. A call for help, a warning, a declaration. Earth was no longer silent. The rover flew over the sand like a bullet. Dust rose behind it, but John didn't look back. He couldn't. If he did, he might see the relay station burning, broken, or worse. He might see Cale not making it out. He gripped the cube tight. It sat in his lap, glowing brighter than before. The upload was complete. But now it was sending, somewhere out there, in deep space, someone was listening. Far beyond Earth's moon, across frozen asteroid belts and dead planets, the signal traveled. Through ion storms, past black holes. And finally, it reached a ship. Not just any ship. A war cruiser of the Terran Exo Alliance. Admiral Riva watched her screen as the signal appeared. Her crew scrambled to decode it. "This frequencies." "Not ours," the comms officer said, "but the signature. It's old Terran code, mixed with something else." Riva leaned closer. "Play it." The sound was a mix of voices, images, fragments. Earth cities, coordinates, weapons data, alien machines. Then Cale's voice, clear and calm. "To any allies still listening, Earth is under attack. This world was never part of your war, but the enemy came anyway. I've delivered the proof. Help them. Help us. Before it's too late." Riva stood up. "Where did this come from?" "Outer Sol System. Near Mars. Signal's origin, Earth." Riva turned to her officer. "Prepare a jump. We're going in." Back on Earth, John had driven for hours. He finally reached a refugee camp near the old mining hills. People gathered around him, confused, dirty faces, tired eyes. Then they saw the cube. John lifted it in the air. "Help is coming." A few believed him. Most didn't. "Who are you?" someone shouted. He paused. "I'm no one, just a mechanic. But I saw what's out there. I saw them kill, destroy. We don't have time to wait anymore." He placed the cube on a table and connected it to a camp monitor. It projected maps, warnings, weapon plans, everything Cale had stored. "This," he said, pointing at the screen, "is what's coming next." Then the cube blinked. A new signal, a voice. Robotic, cold, terrifying. "To all human frequencies. You are harboring stolen data. Return it or be removed." Everyone froze. John looked around. "That's them, the ones Cale warned us about." He turned off the cube. "Spread the word. Everyone. This isn't just one town, one zone, Earth is at war. And we need to fight like it. High above Earth, the black ships arrived. Silent, smooth, fast. Hundreds of them. But behind them, another. Jump gate open. Alliance ships entered orbit. Bulky, bright, armed. Admiral Riva stared at Earth's surface. I see the enemy ships. They're using cloaking fields to hide ground troops. Should we engage? The weapons officer asked. Riva clenched her jaw. We hold orbit. No planet strikes. Not unless the humans ask. We protect. We guide. This is their world. But they're not ready. Riva smiled faintly. No one ever is. Back on the ground, John stared at the sky. Bright flashes. Strange shapes. Something was happening above. A young girl beside him pointed. Are those stars moving? No, John whispered. Those are ships. The cube blinked again. Kale's voice returned, but this time it was a recording. If you're hearing this, then I've done my job, and you have a chance. They will come for you. They'll offer fear, lies, surrender. Don't accept. You are not weak. You are not alone. Fight smart. Fight together. The stars are watching. The message ended. John looked down at the cube. It was dim now. Quiet. But then another signal. Short. Simple. 3 words. She's still alive. John's breath caught. He stood quickly. Get me transport. Any working vehicle. Why? Someone asked. He turned to them, eyes sharp. Because I'm bringing her back. Asterisk. The desert was quiet again, but not safe. John drove fast, his eyes fixed on the horizon. The sun had just started to rise, casting a dull orange glow across the cracked earth. In the passenger seat sat the cube, silent now. But one message still echoed in John's head. She's still alive. He didn't know how. The relay station was overrun. Explosions, fire, screams, he had heard it all before escaping. But something deep inside told him Kale had survived. And if she had, she'd still be fighting. He reached the remains of the relay station by midday. What once was a proud outpost now stood broken, walls melted, the roof caved in. Smoke curled into the air. Burn marks stained the ground. Burnt machines and crushed metal bodies lay across the area. John stepped out of the rover, gun ready. Nothing moved. No wind. No voices. Not even birds. He moved slowly through the ruins, past blackened walls and shattered glass. Then he saw it, a broken hunter, its chest crushed by something heavy. Not a weapon. A fist? John crouched beside it. Kale. Suddenly, he heard something. A soft sound. Like breathing. He followed it through the rubble, down a collapsed stairwell. His boots crunched on broken tiles. In the corner of a half-collapsed room. He found her. Kale. She was sitting against the wall, eyes closed, blood on her armor. Her blade was gone, her armor cracked. But her chest moved slow, steady. John dropped to his knees. Kale. She opened one eye, weak but alert. You came back. You said I had a choice, John said. I made it. Kale smiled barely. Good, because it's not over. He helped her stand. She winced, leaning on him. We have to leave. They're coming. I thought they left. No, she said. They just pulled back, waiting for the next strike, a bigger one. John looked around. Then we need to move fast. Back at the refugee camp, news had spread. People were organizing slowly. They were scared, yes, but also angry. For the first time in years, they had something more than fear. They had purpose. The Alliance ships in orbit had sent supplies, basic weapons, food, medkits. But they hadn't landed. Not yet. They wanted to see if Earth would stand. Up first, John and Kale returned just before sunset. People rushed to help. Kale was taken to a small medical tent. She didn't speak much, just nodded once at the children who stared at her, and awed John stood with the camp leader. "We have to be ready. The final attack is coming." "Final?" the man asked. Kale, weak but still sharp, answered from her stretcher. "They've lost control of the data. They'll come to erase all of it. No more secrets. No survivors." "How?" "Much time do we have?" John asked. Kale looked at the stars. "Maybe one night, maybe less." That night, John stood before the camp. "We didn't ask for this war," he said. "But it came, and now we either run forever or we fight." The crowd was quiet. He held up a weapon. "We're not soldiers, but we can defend what matters. This is our home." Slowly, one by one, people began to nod. A woman lifted her old hunting rifle. A mechanic brought out an EMP cannon from a broken drone. A teenager held up a flare launcher. Kale smiled from the side. "That's how it begins." At midnight, the sky cracked open again. Dark ships blotted out the stars. Final wave had come. This time it wasn't small pods. It was full Landers black towers falling from the sky, slamming into the earth with earthquakes. From them poured the true army. The hunters, the spiders, the walkers. Thousands of them. John stood at the front line with Kale, now standing on her own again. Her new blade hummed, "Gifted by the Alliance. Still think we have a chance?" John asked. Kale looked at the camp behind them, lights ready, weapons charged, people standing together. "Yes," she said, "because this time Earth is awake." And as the enemy charged, the humans fired back. The ground shook as the first wave hit. Black machines swarmed the outer fences, crawling, leaping, climbing. They came fast, like water crashing over a dam. But this time, Earth was ready. John stood on the main wall, rifle in hand. His heart pounded, but his hands were steady. Beside him, Kale raised her glowing blade. She didn't smile, didn't blink, just focused. The sky above flashed with red and blue light. Alliance ships hovered just beyond the atmosphere, watching. "Waiting, hold the line." John shouted. The hunters reached the first trench, then boom. A homemade mine exploded beneath them, tearing legs from metal bodies. More followed, pushing over each other like animals. Gunfire lit up the night. Humans, farmers, mechanics, even kids fired from behind sandbags and rooftops. Kale jumped down into the chaos, her blade slicing in wide arcs. She moved like fire, fast, burning, deadly. John climbed down to join the second line. "We need more power on the east side," someone yelled. John grabbed a plasma coil from a downed drone and rewired it on the spot. Sparks flew. The coil lit up, sending electric bursts through the air. Machines screamed as they touched it. "Nice shot," Kale said, landing beside him, out of breath. "We're not done yet," John replied. Inside the camp, the command tent was filled with noise. "Reinforcements?" asked the camp leader. "Alliance won't engage until orbital threat is neutralized," replied the comms tech. "They're leaving us here to die?" "No," Kale's voice cut in through the radio. "They're watching to see if Earth can survive the first storm. Only then will they fight with you, not for you." Back on the field, the battle turned. A massive walker appeared at the edge of the ridge. It was tall, 3 stories high, with 4 steel legs and a rotating energy cannon on its back. It fired. Once an entire bunker vanished in fire. John and Kale ducked as debris flew. "That's not a scout," John said. "That's a siege engine. We can't take that down with hand weapons," Kale admitted. "But maybe with something bigger," John said. He ran back toward the old rover. On its back was a stolen missile launcher from the relay station. He set it up on a hilltop. "Kale, I need time." She nodded and sprinted into the walker's path, drawing fire. Her shield flickered with every hit. John locked on target. Green. He pulled a trigger. The rocket screamed through the air and slammed into the walker's main joint. Boom! The leg folded. The machine tilted, then collapsed. The crowd below cheered. But Cale didn't rise. John ran down the hill. Cale! He found her beneath a collapsed drone, half buried in dirt and smoke. Her eyes fluttered open. She coughed weakly. You missed the core, she said. I was aiming for drama, he replied. She smiled faintly. Then dash screams. The last wave was here. Hundreds more hunters, darker and faster, charging without fear. John stood. We can't hold them all. Cale looked at the cube in his bag. There's one last signal I didn't use. What kind of signal? She took it gently. A beacon. It calls a strike team. But only if Earth is ready to stand. Then send it, John said. She pressed her hand to the cube. It pulsed once. Then light filled the sky. In orbit. Admiral Riva saw the signal. Confirmation received. Earth resists. She turned to her crew. Bring the hammer. The Alliance fleet moved in 12 ships. Heavy class. Their cannons glowed bright as small suns. And then the sky rained fire. Blue beams struck the enemy dropships. Explosions lit up the ground. Hunters froze, then scattered. The humans on the surface cheered as the sky itself fought beside them. John watched, speechless. Cale stood, using his shoulder for balance. It's not over, she said. But it's our fight now, together. Days passed. The enemy fled, their command ship crippled. Small pockets remained, but the humans hunted them, now side by side with the Alliance. Cale healed slowly, her wounds deep but not fatal. John returned to the relay ruins, helping rebuild. Stronger this time, the world had changed. People no longer whispered about the stars. They looked up with pride. Cale stood beside John on the rebuilt wall. You did well, human. He grinned. You're not bad yourself. For someone who crash-landed covered in mud, she smirked. Next time, maybe I'll let you borrow the armor. He looked up at the stars. So, what now? She paused. Now, she said, Earth chooses its future. It's no longer just part of the map. It's part of the fight. And for the first time, John felt something he hadn't felt in years. Hope.